I don't know about any of you, but it's often difficult for me to admit my failures or my mistakes, or those times when I've made poor choices, when I've maybe abandoned Jesus due to my thoughts, my words, or my actions. And just to put it simply, when I've just gone in the wrong direction, I've gone the wrong way in life and in life of faith. And sometimes many of us find ourselves doing that same thing. We're just going the wrong way. Well, the gospel today should be a source of hope for all of us that may feel that way. I know it is for me. It is the conclusion of that familiar story of the two disciples on the road to Emmaus. We remember that these two were not first stringers. So March Madness ended not too long ago, so I'll just put it in there as first stringers. They weren't first stringers. They were like us, second stringers, right? But what's important to remember is Jesus appeared to Simon Peter, but he also appeared to them. And so in the mind of God, in the mind of Christ, we are all first stringers. But they were going the wrong way. They were going the wrong way. And these were two that witnessed Jesus' crucifixion, his death, his burial, the empty tomb. But they went the wrong way. They still went the wrong way. And their grief and their bitterness, their confusion, at their lowest point, Jesus came to them as he comes to us. So one thing that we know is one is named Cleopas. The other one is not named. And whenever I read Scripture and I see that blank where there's not a name, I insert my own. And it's something that we all can do because I think this other disciple kind of represents all of us. If we found ourselves in our life or our faith life going the wrong way, the wrong direction. And it's often overlooked, again, that how we are so important to God and his love and his mercy that we are on this equal ground. And so it's often when we're in those low points of our lives, it's easy to despair. And I think these two on the road had grief and sadness and despair. And Jesus comes to them, and they don't recognize him. And I had a hard time with that. I'm like, why don't they recognize Jesus? What was going on? You know, was it his appearance? What was going on? And I was all up in my head. I was all up in my head about it. And I thought I was being judgmental on these two. And I thought, well, how many times in my own life have I failed to recognize Jesus? And so they incorrectly thought, and thinking comes from up here, right? That wisdom tends to flow from our hearts. They incorrectly thought that Jesus had abandoned them, but he does not, and he will not, just as he will not for us. And so because of them being in their heads, I thought, well, maybe they just needed, like we do sometimes, they just needed their hearts to catch up to their heads. And so they say in the spiritual life, the longest distance we can make is from here to here. And I think that might have been the case with these two disciples. And so for us, when we find ourselves maybe in that state of despair in those low points, to just let our hearts catch up. And so their aha moment for them, can be for us as well, is in the breaking of the bread, in the Eucharist. Luke 24, if we backed up a little bit, says, and it happened that while he was with them at table, he took bread, said the blessing, broke it, and gave it to them, and with that, their eyes were opened, and they recognized him. And then kind of the proof text to me that they were all in their heads, they said to each other, were not our hearts burning within us as he spoke to us on the way? And so they had to let their hearts catch up. What's interesting to note, and it's a lesson for all of us, so if we have that encounter, we have that conversion, we have that, just that great experience with Christ, to not hold it within us. And so these two disciples, in a time in history when it was incredibly dangerous to travel at night, turned around. They headed in the right direction at night when it was dangerous to go back and spread the good news of Jesus Christ. And we are called to do the same. If we ever feel that Jesus would be condemning to us, and our readings today point to not only the Eucharist, but to Jesus' gift to us in the sacrament of reconciliation. But if we ever feel that we are going to be condemned by God, Jesus comes to them and says, peace be with you. Last week's gospel, 3 times Jesus says that. Peace be with you, peace be with you, peace be with you. And so in the Eucharist, which we will celebrate in a few moments, can be our aha moment, when if we are going in the wrong direction, we have that opportunity to see Christ and turn it around. And it is truly Jesus, body, blood, soul, and divinity. And through the peace of God, which is above all understanding, it's our opportunity to once again go the right way and to share that good news of Jesus Christ with all those we meet. Peace be with you.